Have you ever really stopped to wonder what keeps a person going when absolutely everything has been taken from them? Well, today we're diving into a book that tackles that exact question, but not from some comfortable armchair. We're talking about Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, a book born from the absolute depths of human suffering.
This right here, this is the question that beats at the very heart of the entire book. And for its author, Viktor Frankl, this was not just some philosophical thought experiment. No, this was a question he had to find an answer to every single day just to stay alive.
You see, these ideas, this incredible, hard-won wisdom about the human spirit, it all came directly from Frankl's own experience as a prisoner. He was in Nazi concentration camps during World War II. So this isn't just theory, it's a testament to resilience that was literally forged in fire.
To really, truly understand the weight of what Frankl is saying, we have to start with his story. Because this isn't some abstract philosophy he came up with. This is wisdom that came from the most extreme human experience you can possibly imagine.
I mean, just try for a second to wrap your head around that level of loss. His pregnant wife, his parents, his brother, all of them murdered. The manuscript for his entire life's work, which he had sewn into the lining of his coat for safekeeping, was torn away from him. He was stripped of his name, reduced to just a number. Every single thing that told him who he was just gone.
And this is where his background as a psychiatrist really kicks in. Because in the middle of all that starvation and brutality and disease, he started to notice something really strange. The people who were making it through, they weren't always the biggest or the strongest. It was something else, something internal.
He realized that survival so often came down to a person's inner resolve. It was about having a why. A future to hope for, a loved one's face to remember, a purpose you still had to fulfill. This one single insight would go on to shape everything he did next, and it became the absolute bedrock of his life's work.
Okay, so this powerful observation he made in the camps, it led him to develop his main theory, a school of thought he called Logotherapy. And let me tell you, it was a direct challenge to the biggest names in psychology at the time, Sigmund Freud and Alfred Adler.
So back then, psychology was really all about two main ideas for what drives us as humans. You had Freud, who famously argued that we're all just driven by a will to pleasure. Then you had his contemporary, Adler, who said, no, it's actually a will to power. Both really compelling ideas, right? But Frankl's experience showed him something much, much deeper.
I mean, he saw it with his own eyes. When pleasure was completely impossible, and when you had absolutely zero power over your own life, people still searched for something to hold on to. And this led him to propose a third, and what he argued was the most fundamental human drive of all.
He called it the will to meaning. And logotherapy is built right on top of this simple but incredibly profound idea. What drives us, more than pleasure, more than power, is our search for purpose. Just think about your own life for a second. When you feel truly lost, is it really because you don't have enough pleasure? Or is it because you feel like you're lacking meaning?
This leads us right into what is, for my money, the most powerful and life-changing lesson in the entire book. It's an idea that gives us a sense of control, even when we feel like we have none at all.
Frankl explained that his captors, they had total control over his world, his body, his environment, even whether he lived or died. They could take away everything he had, with one single, untouchable exception.
He wrote that between the stimulus, so what happens to us, and our response, how we react, there is a space. And in that space, that's where our power lies, the power to choose our attitude. This he called the last of the human freedoms. What an unbelievably empowering idea, right? We might not control the things that happen in our lives, the job loss, the diagnosis, the heartbreak, but we always have the freedom to choose our attitude towards them. We are responsible for our response, and that is a power that nobody can ever take away from you. Okay, so I know this might all be sounding very philosophical, but Frankl was a doctor, a practical psychiatrist. He didn't just diagnose the problem. He offered a prescription. He laid out 3 very concrete, very actionable ways that any of us can find meaning in our lives.
So the first way is through creation, by making something, doing work that matters. The second is through experience, by what we receive from the world, whether that's love for another person or experiencing art or nature. And the third path, well, this one's maybe the most profound of all. When we are faced with suffering we cannot avoid, we are challenged to change ourselves. Our attitude becomes our last great creative act.
For Frankl, that second path, love, it was his literal lifeline in the camps. He would spend hours having these vivid, imaginary conversations with his wife. He would just hold on to her image in his mind, having no idea if she was even still alive. And it was in those moments that he had this incredible realization. Love is the highest thing we can aspire to, and its meaning goes way beyond the physical presence of the person you love.
So here's the big question. Why does a book about something that happened back in the 1940s feel more urgent and more relevant today than maybe ever before? It's because Frankl saw the unique struggles of our modern world coming with, frankly, chilling accuracy.
He actually coined this term, the existential vacuum. It's that feeling of deep emptiness and boredom that can sneak up on you, even when, on paper, you have everything you ever thought you wanted. He predicted that as life got more comfortable for more people, we'd find ourselves facing that quiet, nagging question. Wait, is this...
And Frankl argued that this vacuum, this void of meaning, is often the breeding ground for all sorts of destructive behaviors. He would say that so many of our modern problems, depression, addiction, aggression, are just symptoms of a deeper sickness. It's not a happiness deficit, it's a meaning deficit. So what was his solution? It was a complete 180 in our perspective. He said we have to stop asking what we expect from life as if life owes us something. Instead, we need to flip the question around and ask, what does life expect from us? Just that simple change turns you from a passive victim into an active creator of your own meaning.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway from man's search for meaning. It's not some secret recipe for happiness. It's a radical call for you to take responsibility. Meaning isn't a prize you win or something that's just handed to you.
It's something you forge. You forge it in your choices, in your actions, and in your attitude. It's discovered in how you choose to answer the unique questions that your life puts in front of you, day after day, moment by moment. The power to build a meaningful life, it's already in your hands.
And that brings us to the final, challenging question that Frankl leaves for every single one of us. And it's not a question for someday down the road. It's for right now. In this very moment, with your unique situation, your challenges, your gifts, what does life expect from you?